Hello and welcome to the Cup of Triathlon podcast. We're brought to you every week by our sponsors, cheercharge.co.uk.
Home of great tasting flapjack cheer bars. You can use the code COT10 for a 10% discount.
We've also got precisionhydration.com.
Leaders in triathlete sweat testing and sports hydration with multi-strength electrolytes that match how you sweat. You can get 15% off with the code CUPOFTRI15.
And Team Oxygen Addict.
Online triathlon coaching featuring event-specific training plans and coaching support from Mr. Rob Wilby.
That's me. And that's you. Hello, Helen. How are you, Helen?
Hi. Rob, I feel hungover.
Really? Have you been partying?
No. However, the signs, get the signs, right? I woke up in the top I had on yesterday.
Right, excellent.
I was falling asleep in the taxi.
Excellent.
I woke up like this morning after about 4.5, 5 hours sleep, absolutely starving and needing loads of water. And I just felt pretty rough.
It's a long time since I've experienced a hangover like that, Helen, but it sounds pretty nasty. If it wasn't a hangover then, what's caused this? I've got to ask.
I think I might have just exerted myself a little bit too much yesterday by doing a bit too much in one day.
Was it like dehydration from racing at Alton Park and probably you've zoomed off to work afterwards, right, and done a full shift or something?
Correct, yeah.
You lunatic.
So I was up yesterday morning at 5:30. See, even my voice, it just sounds hungover, doesn't it?
You do sound like you've been burning a couple
Oh,
of
man. Up yesterday at 5:30 in the morning. And then I finally got home at like 1:45 this morning.
Oh, dude. So how came you up so early? Did you have to, was it an early start for Alton Park?
Yeah, I was being a race buddy. So I was there at about 7:00 in the morning when people were registering and stuff. And then I did the sprint, which started at 10:00. And then I was there probably
straight from there to work.
Nipped home, had a quick shower, and then went to work with one tattoo left on my arm. I couldn't, they take about 5 minutes each to get off.
Baby oil.
Oh, I didn't quite have. I got one off the leg and one off one arm, and then I was just like, stuff it, it's staying on.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, there you go.
Bless you. So you've ended up feeling really rotten after it as well. You had a good race though, didn't you? I saw a picture of you on the podium on Twitter. And then did that get taken away?
It was so embarrassing, right? I crossed the line and I thought, I think I'm fourth. If I've had a no, I think I'm fourth, right?
Yeah.
And then they presented the age group prizes and I thought, well, I'm pretty sure I've won my age group, but they didn't call my name out. The girl who won the age group got like 113, and I was like, how does that work? Because I got 111, so she did,
right.
So then when they did the overall females, they called my name out in third, and I was like, I didn't. Ooh. So I thought, well,
okay,
I better go up, and then I sort of was stood there. I said to second, I didn't think I was third. And she's like, yeah, you are. And then I saw proper third looking at me from in front.
Was she giving the evil stare?
Kind of like a bit of a, I think I'm meant to be up there, not you. So then I just had to do this really awkward, look, here's the mug back. I'm getting off this podium right now.
So did it end up you were fourth?
Yeah, I was fourth, and I did win my age group.
Congratulations, and you won your age group. Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, but I didn't get a prize for winning my age group because the girl who won the age group, or not, got the prize.
And she absconded with the mug, did she?
Yeah.
So somewhere out there's a person, we should name and shame this person, who's gone with the mug. She probably doesn't even realise, does she?
No, because they did that bit first.
Nobody would deliberately take a mug off somebody else. Oh, bless you. I have to phone Simon. He's got to find you an extra mug.
I think he felt a bit bad. I was like, look, goodness me, don't worry about it at all.
That's life, hey?
That is life. But yeah, we can talk more about Alton Park and a sprint duathlon. Oh my God, Rob, utter horribleness for an hour.
Is it just utter pain?
It's just like, whoa. I looked at my watch on the first run. I was like, oh, that might be a bit quick. 5:56.
Yeah. And then when it's a qualifier as well, everybody just goes off nuts, don't they? Everyone's so hyped up for it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, there we go.
So have you qualified for the Great Britain team then? Was that was the sprint a qualifier for the Europeans or the Worlds or something?
It was a qualifier for the Europeans, but I didn't register my interest because I looked at when it is, and it's the week after the London Marathon, and I have a good for age place for London, and I thought I'm going to go and do London.
You see, you're so accomplished these days, Helen. You just let the Kona slot roll past you. You let the Great Britain vest roll past you.
Oh God, don't.
That's the confidence that comes with being good, isn't it?
No. I just thought, no, I'm going to be careful next year and not sign up to too much stuff and save the pennies where they don't need spending. So London it is over Spain.
All right, nice stuff.
Yep.
Nice. Well, talking about spending pennies, it's the week when triathletes who are fast spend a lot of pennies to get themselves over to Kona, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that bit might have been done previously. They've always spent their pennies and then they have to spend more pennies because there's so much fun stuff out there. And it's blooming expensive, isn't it?
It is not cheap to go out to Kona, no. But having said that, you go into a tropical paradise, so I think you've got to expect to spend a few quid, don't you?
Yeah.
And then when you get there, there's loads of people giving stuff away for free. Free T-shirts, free hats, free sunglasses.
Free beds.
So, yeah.
Anything.
Vinny's got a nice little line going there, hasn't she? You seen that video of her advertising those mattresses?
They're Rest, aren't they? Or something like that.
Rest mattresses, yeah. It's like, that's very, very cool. You're advertising them. I'd like a mattress sponsor. I could really promote a mattress.
God, it might stop me from waking up at like 6:20 in the morning when I don't need to be awake at 6:20 in the morning.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So what should we do? Should we do results and all that first and then talk about Kona? Let's do results from the weekend and then we'll talk about Kona because we're going to wrap it on a bit for that, aren't we, probably?
Yeah, I think so. So coming up for Kona, we will have an interview with, you spoke to Thorsten, didn't you? Thorsten Radde from Try Rating.
Yeah, that's awesome. Actually, we've got 30 minutes from him talking about how he thinks the race is going to go and a lot of stuff about the Brits. And he's really good because he knows everything about everybody and where they've raced and what form they're in and stuff. So it's very Brit-centric. So apologies to all our international listeners. But he's got some good stuff in there about what he thinks the top three are going to be for men and women as well.
Oh, perfect. And then we've also got an interview with, we mentioned her last week, GB age grouper Rachel Hallam, who I've seen a few photos on Twitter. Looks like she's getting a few miles out in Kona, so she'll be racing for the second time out at the World Championships.
Good stuff. And we've put this episode out early this week, and I'm hoping that we're going to be able to do a couple of sneaky Kona super specials. So if you're listening to this and then you keep your eyes open, maybe they'll pop up, and who knows? You know how it is with professional athletes. Sometimes they can find their time and sometimes they can't. So there might be none or there might be several Kona super specials popping up.
Excellent.
Shouldn't call it that because that's what I Am Talk call theirs. Should call it something different.
Definitely. Cup of Try Kona interviews. There you go. Easy.
There you go.
What it says on the
Try
tin.
Kona interviews. I like it, Helen.
Rob,
you good with these labels?
Oh, no, I don't think so. Should we give some results out?
Yeah, so results this week sponsored by Precision Hydration. Anyone who uses the code CUPOFTRY15 in the month of October is going to get entered into a prize draw to win a free sweat test worth £95, Helen. How cool's that?
That is very cool. Really cool.
So buy some stuff from Precision Hydration. All of their new all-natural electrolyte products are now fully back in stock. So the 500s, the 1000s, the 1500s, you can get those now and fill your boots now ready for winter training, which I think is pretty cool. And I noticed the other day they've got a blog on their website at the moment about how to stay hydrated during winter training. So if you are like Helen and I and suffer those beautiful calf cramps that happen towards the end of your turbo session or your indoor treadmill session, have a little read of those. It's on the front page of their blog at precisionhydration.com.
Perfect. Well, let's kick off, Rob, at Ironman Barcelona. Such a beautiful horizon.
Beautiful singing. Beautiful for Patrick Nielsen from Sweden.
Yeah.
7:55, Hells.
Very quick on a very quick course.
Yeah, Scorcho. Now they meant to. Well, they threw a couple of hills into this to break it up because it was a super quick course last year, and I don't think it's quite as quick this year. Looking at the numbers, but there's still some frighteningly fast times been turned out on this course, aren't there?
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, a 2:41 run he finished with. He did a 49 swim and a 4:20 bike. And he had a 10-minute cushion at the finish line. Ivan Tutikin of Russia was second in 8:05, and then Mikel Blanchard Tinto of Spain third in 8:07.
It looks like there's a couple of guys went off the front on the bike. We had Johan Ackermann of Germany and Mark Bennick from the Netherlands. Both rode 4:12, which is
frightening.
Which is a Joe Skipper kind of super biker type split, isn't it? So Nielsen didn't have it all his own way, having to run down. Imagine riding 4:20 and having to run down 8 minutes into somebody.
It's mad. Madness. Yeah. Honestly, madness.
7:55 finish. Very impressed with that. Wow. And we've got to give a shout out to Britain's Richie Nichols as well, who broke the Scottish record in 7th place with 8:13. I think he took 3 minutes off Graham Stewart's mark.
Ah, brilliant. Nice one. Nice one.
2:45 marathon for him. That's a seriously fast running, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't think he's had the best season this year, has he? So it's really good to kind of get that nailed on.
Yeah, good for him. Well done.
In the women's race, Rob, it was won by Astrid Steinen of Germany in 8:54, ahead of Elizabeth Gruber of Austria in 9:05, and then Anna Watkinson of South Africa was third in 9:12. Rob, I also wanted to mention an incredible performance from Hasib Ahmad, who broke the world record for a blind athlete over the Ironman distance. He and guide Duncan Shear-Simmons did that, which is
awesome. Good work, guys.
Really, really impressive. So well done. And I know that they did it. So they would have been tapered in the swim, and then they would have been on the tandem bike, and then they would have been again tapered on the tethered. Sorry, I told you I'm hungover. Tethered on the run. And I was thinking that's not the right word. Tethered.
I was thinking you knew the correct phrase, but I was really impressed. You should just have kept rolling. Just be confident. That's the key.
Oh, such a loser, aren't I? Tethered on the swim and the run.
Imagine doing an Ironman swim tethered to somebody. That's pretty full on, isn't it? With a couple of thousand athletes around you.
That's exactly it. So it's yeah. I mean, it's bad enough, isn't it, with just one of you, and then having to
see where you're going.
Yeah. So real hats off to both of them, because
we're having him on. Get him on.
We are, honestly. I have been in touch.
Pretty inspirational.
Been in touch, so we will sort that out. And it might be that we hear from him in this episode, and it might not. And if it doesn't happen this week, then we will get him on, and we'll get a good interview with him.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. And let's give a shout out to Lou Clegg as well.
Oh,
good old Lou. First Ironman, 11:20. Well done, Lou. Legend.
Absolutely incredible. So I think we said that this is a friend who's had a really, really pretty rubbishy year, and won't have done probably as much training, mental prep, everything like that. And so to go out there on her debut and get 11:20 is absolutely incredible. She's in the 45 to 50 category, or 49 category. And I think we can all learn a bit from Lou Clark's amazing attitude.
She drilled it on the bike, didn't she? 5:20. I looked at that when she came off and was going, "Oh, Lou, this could be a long marathon," but she held it together. She did a good job. I had 8 athletes racing out there, believe it or not. Oh. Most of like a third of my coaching roster were racing in the same race. So I was like an expectant father, trying to look at the results, count them out and count them back in again. Nice. And pretty much everybody, I think 7 of the 8 did massive PBs. So if anyone is looking for a fast course, I think Barcelona is the place to go to.
Yeah, definitely. Rob, should we move over to the States at Ironman Maryland?
Oh yeah, and now Maryland, the deep south. What kind of weather are you imagining you're going to get there to race in, Hells?
Hot heat.
Hot heat and a little bit of sunshine.
Yeah.
No. Swim cancelled due to almost hurricane-like conditions. Bike course had to be shortened to 100 miles, and then somebody posted some video from the run course of the guys running like literally wading knee deep in water through a section, and not a short section either. It's about 50 meters long of knee deep in water. It looks like they had the most horrendous weather imaginable.
Oh, someone was telling me about a similar experience at Pula 70.3 in Croatia, but he said ankle deep rather than knee deep in water. But some places, if they don't have the drainage,
hammered for the weather. Yeah,
horrendous. And he said, yeah, this guy was saying it was just so scary, like really, really scary. So, if you were involved in the race in Maryland, then let us know. What was it really like?
I've got a few athletes who I had one guy racing there, and he's going to send us a report through. So we'll get that on the show next week when we hear more about it. But you got a feel for the race organisers when something like that happens, and everyone's all like, they've built the whole year around this race, and then you got to completely cancel the swim and shorten the bike ride. Hideous central. Race was won on the men's side by Chris Nocera. John Kelly in second and Jacob Wissam in third. Have you got the ladies' results there?
Have I got the ladies' results? No, not in front of me. I've just pulled something else up.
That's no problem. I've got them. There we go. Results. Lisa Gertz from Canada in first, Ashley Forsyth from the USA in second, and Jennifer Zopp from the USA in third.
Brilliant. The ones I do have up in front of me, Rob, is 70.3 Cozumel in Mexico. That's beautiful part of the world.
Mexico. Oh, we'll have to go there one year, won't we?
Oh, honestly, it's stunning part of the world. So they got a home win. Mauricio Mendez Cruz won it in 3:43 ahead of Richie Cunningham of Australia and Louis Knabel. Yeah,
close enough.
Yeah, and James Hadley of Britain was fourth in 3:51.
He's kind of a celebrity over there, isn't he? I saw a thing in a magazine about him. Was he not on some reality show?
He was on a reality show over here.
Was he? It was over here.
Yeah, he was on Take Me Out.
Oh right, okay, okay. Well, the thing I read in the magazine was like the photos look kind of modelly. It looks like one of those really good-looking, The Only Way is Essex kind of dudes. Yes. But he's fast. Fair play to him. Fourth at Cozumel is a
really decent,
genuine. It is. Yeah. It's a genuine performance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe we should try and get him on, have a conversation. He's probably got an interesting story.
I think he might. One for later on in the year, Rob.
Yeah, that's right. We'll get him on later on.
In the women's race, Sue Hoos won in 4:19 from Canada ahead of Lauren Brandon of the USA, super duper swimmer, who she did 19:50 swim in 4:20, and then Ellie Salthouse of Australia was third in 4:23. So congratulations to everyone. Felicidades in Cozumel.
Coolio. Right then, we mentioned Alton Park earlier on with the lovely Helen taking fourth. Standard distance race for the men. We had Dave Roper take the overall win in 1:38, which is fast on that course.
Honestly, Rob, if that's the guy who we saw after it is. He was miles ahead of everybody on the first run. He did 27:10, like literally, and the next fastest was 28:20 or something.
It's like a minute faster.
Seriously,
isn't it?
it's just
400 meters ahead.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really was amazing. He clearly paid the price slightly on run 2, a little bit slower, 14:02, but honestly, wow, he nailed it. Nearly a minute clear.
Even so, on run 2, he's still second fastest, I think, in the whole field. So fair play. So Dave Roper wins it, Paul Vernon in second, and Dan Blake takes third. Over on the ladies' side in the standard.
Yep. We have Claire Steels, who won in 1:51 ahead of Anna Weaver in 1:50, about a minute difference between them. And then Rachel Wiseman was third in 1:54. And then, Rob, a quick mention for the sprint. Cameron Richardson won in 1 hour and 6 seconds. Lewis Tim in second in 1 hour and 7 seconds.
Wow.
I know. And then Ed Auden third in 1:01:22.
Were they like in the same wave? Was it head to head?
It was
sprint to the line kind of deal?
It was all one wave. It was a mass start. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah. That's
Good effort. That's brilliant.
That's really, really good. And then, yeah, on the women's, it was not me. Naomi Collier won in 1:10. Rob, you can see in the results, right? Naomi Collier, she flew past everybody on the second run.
Really.
She was like a minute quicker on the second run than anybody else.
Yeah.
You looking
She did a
really
fast first run as well. She's a minute
seriously.
faster than everyone on the first
Yeah,
run.
she was. So I think, because I might have overheard someone talking, I think basically someone saying to her, if you get better on the bike, you're going to absolutely dominate.
Yeah.
Because I think she comes from a running background. So, yeah,
Okay.
really impressive from her. 1:10, she won 1:10.04. Joe Billings, second in 1:10.40. Had a nice chat with Joe at the end. So thank you, Joe. And then Gwen Kinsey was third in 1:11.01.
Awesome stuff. And then in fourth place, Hallam Murray. You're only 30 seconds off the podium, Hals. Just think. That's not bad going, considering you're at the end of a 6-week-long end-of-season break with no training. That's nice to be able to rock up and place fourth and win your age group.
Can you see how badly I timed my runs, Rob? Look at run 2.
Yeah, it looks like you had a little bit of the old elephant on the back in run 2, yeah. But hey, that's to be expected, isn't it? You had almost the fastest bike time in the ladies.
Oh, I blew up.
It's very impressive.
Thanks, I blew up slightly on that second run.
Well, if you can't blow up in an end-of-season race, Hallam, can you? It's all good, isn't it?
Yeah, but brilliant race. The Alton Park. If you've ever done a race around it's around a motor circuit. It's great.
It's great fun, isn't it?
It's good.
Smooth tarmac, fast corners, really good fun.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes my idea of just doing laps just fills me with dread. And I was thinking, have I done 4 or 5? Because you've got to count your own laps. But
yeah,
just for a different experience and no cars and excellent organisation, I would definitely look at Alton Park if you're interested next season.
Great race. Well worth looking at. And they have one in the spring as well, don't they? So that's one to look out for.
Yep.
Cool. Right, let's move on to news. News of the week. I'm excited about news of the week this week, Hells.
Oh, there's lots of news.
Sponsored by Cheer Charge, this one. Now, they've told us they're going to run a competition, Hells. There's going to be a competition for our listeners to win a box of Cheer Charge flapjacks. 3 different flavours mixed up worth 32 quid. So we'll post details of that. I think they're just working out the landing page for it at the moment. So we'll get that up on social media, on Facebook and up on Twitter when that comes through, because a nice big box of free flapjacks coming through the door would be a nice little treat, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I had one the other day, Rob. I tried a Cheer Charge flapjack. Very nice.
Yeah, they're good, aren't they?
Yeah, delicious. So
they're the snack that keeps on giving, with the chia seeds that just kind of like pop back into your mouth. I really like them. I'm really into it.
I love it. Yeah, it's good. So that'll be
stuff. Yeah.
So keep you listening for more details of that, and look on at Cup of Try on Twitter and our Facebook page as well, because I'm sure there'll be details up there.
Yeah, so cheercharge.co.uk is the website to go to read about that, and they've got nut butter and they've got chia seeds and the whole deal. So I'm getting really into this, Hals. I'm going to start mixing up chia seed drinks. I think I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to enter the old ultra endurance world with my little flask of chia seeds.
I love it. I've never.
I'm a convert.
Nice. You're going to have to fill us in on chia seed drinks next time, Rob.
Yeah, well, I think you just mix them with water and they kind of absorb all the water and swell up. Yeah. Watch this space, Helen.
Brilliant. I will await news.
Right, come on, let's do the news. The first news I want to talk about is, have you seen the photos of the new Cervelo?
Yes, I have.
What do you think? We don't know whether it's called the P6 or the P5X. It's all because it hasn't been released yet. But of course, all the naughty people who are out at Kona have managed to snap photos of. I think it's Freddie Van Leerd's riding one.
Wow. It looks very nice. It looks way out of. It wouldn't look very good in my garage. It's a bit like,
it's an outer spacecraft, isn't it?
Yeah, it would look a bit out of place with, a normal bike. Yeah.
Well, originally, when Cervelo first came to market, you won't know this, Helen, because you were about 7 at the time. But the first ever Cervelo bike looked like this one. It was their first prototype that the two guys produced. And it's basically like a solid, the whole bike's filled in, isn't it? From behind the front wheel all the way to the chain set. The whole thing's solid, and then you've got like a beam to sit on. It's a really, really unique looking bike, but it's almost identical, or a large chunk of it is almost identical to this first prototype that they produced, and then never made it into an actual bike. They ended up producing what was then like the P2 out of aluminium, and the P3 out of aluminium after that.
Yeah.
But they've always had photos on their website hidden away of this. It's a fluorescent green bike, and it looks really 80s. But it's like you look at it and go, "That's amazing!" It looks like the kind of thing that Chris Boardman should have been riding back in the day.
Oh.
And now they've produced one, and presumably Freddie Van Leerd's on it. It's going to be commercially available soon, right?
Yeah. So you're saving up?
There's no chance.
This is my point.
There's just no chance of me affording it, is there?
It's just no. Again, you've got to choose where you splash the cash.
Do you know what we need, Helen?
Go on.
We need a test ride.
That would be better. You can go up to a posh garage and say, "Oh yeah, please could I test drive one of your cars?" Yes, clearly very interested. As in, no, not at all. But yep, test ride, that'd be good.
I think Surveyor need to sponsor the podcast, and they need to send us to try, because there won't be one in the UK yet. Come on, Surveyor, we could get the word out there for you. You could have a balding old coach riding round on your bikes. That would help sell it, wouldn't it?
I guarantee I'd get on it, and I'd probably try to change the gears a little bit too enthusiastically, and the chain would fall off or something like that.
Break it, yeah, that's for sure.
Anyway, there we go. Rob, the other, have we talked about? Have we done bikes?
Yeah, that's enough on bikes. Go and find the photos online, guys. Go and check it out. I know at least half the listenership are like going to be frantically typing at the keyboard as soon as they can to go and find photos of it.
Well, Rob, I know we're going to be talking about Kona in a moment. So the other bit of news that I wanted to bring you relates to Kona, and it is about Shirin Garami, who is going to be racing at the World Championships. Now, if rewind back to 2013, and Shirin basically was trying to get permission from Iran to race at the ITU World Championships in London.
Yeah.
Can you remember?
Okay.
I do. And they only gave her permission. It was like 2:00 in the morning or something ridiculous before the actual race start that they finally said, yes, you can do that. So sort of fast forward a couple of years, and basically Ironman have invited Shirin to compete in Kona, and she's been working with Ironman, and she's been working with Try Training Harder, and so she's going to be out in Kona, which I think is absolutely fantastic.
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, really exciting stuff, huh?
So what I want you to do is go to whipsup.com and have a read of the article that Tim Hemming has written for Whips Up, because it's just brilliant. So check it out.
All right, good stuff. Good. Right, so Coach's Couch this week. We've had a question through from Sonia Pippin. Do you want to read that out for us?
Yep, Sonia asks, she asked at Cup of Tri on Twitter, how do you plan in rest days when you have 3 sports plus weight training? And I think this is a brilliant question, Rob, because I did some core the other day, about an hour like core session, and honestly, it was hurting to laugh the following day.
Yeah.
So,
oh boy.
Yeah. So there we go. This is a good question.
Well, I'm going to put weight training on one side for a minute because we'll talk about that separately. And the first part of the question is, how do you plan in rest days when you've got 3 sports? Well, I think the key is you need to consider whether you need a rest day or whether you need to recover from the training that you're doing, because the idea that you need a complete day off is something that might be true for you, but it's also something that might not be true for you. So a lot of my guys I have do a recovery swim on the day when they're recovering. And that really is a recovery swim. The idea is it's like a free massage, and they swim really, really easy, and they get to the end of it feeling better than when they started. But what that allows you to do is, it helps you recover from the training that you've been doing, but it also means you're refreshed and you can work on your stroke a little bit at the same time. So you can keep something going on there. Similarly, you can use a recovery bike session with a really, really easy spin and the little ring, and, keep your heart rate well in zone 1. That's going to promote recovery while still keeping that kind of neuromuscular adaptation going, so that you're still effectively getting a training effect, but it's not hard on your cardiovascular system or on your muscles. And from that point, I think you then have to look at the rest of the week and say, right, well, we've got one really dedicated recovery day where we do that recovery swim and that's all. We've got another day that's much lower volume and it might have just a recovery ride in it. And the rest of the days you can then go, perhaps during the winter time would be the time to look at doing 2 really hard turbos and an outdoor ride, and then a couple of runs or 3 runs alongside that. And you might not do very much swimming during that period of the year. But the key is to have that recovery day that's completely recovery focused, and another day of the week, maybe 3 days later, that's also slightly more recovery focused. So you end up with like 3 hard days and then a recovery day, 2 harder days and a recovery day, and kind of work your training that way. That makes sense so far?
Yep, that does make sense.
So now the weight training part of it, I think you need to look really carefully whether as a triathlete you do need to be doing weight training all the year around. And I think the answer to that is no. I think you need to be doing some weight training during the winter, but then rather than doing weight training, look at doing strength and conditioning with a small s and a big C. So it's not necessarily about strength, but it's about conditioning the other muscles that are going to support your body for riding, running and swimming to be better and stronger for the rest of the year. Now, the caveat is for older athletes and for female athletes, I think you do need to do a bit more weight training, specifically during the winter. Perhaps try and bulk up a little bit, especially for the men during the winter, because you're going to lose a bit of that muscle during the summertime. But I think the weight training is something that can be quite counterproductive to the rest of the training that you need to do. And if you think about it, pushing down hard on the pedals on a bike is going to build a lot of strength anyway. So do you need to be doing strength training on the legs? Well, probably not a lot of the time, and definitely not during the season itself when, a series of squats could actually just wreck your legs and mean that you can't do the training that you need to do for the running and the cycling. So there we go. There's my opinion.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah. And we're going to talk a little bit about Team Oxygen Addict at this point because we've got our big webinars this week, Hells.
Yeah, so I hear. Fill me in. What are you talking about?
Well, the webinar is going to be entitled Triathlon Training for the Time-Crunched Age Grouper. So if you are an age grouper who has not got enough time to train, and let's be honest, Helen, I think that's most of us, we're going to do a webinar this Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. If you go to team.oxygenaddict.com/training webinar, you can put your email address in there, and even if you can't attend at the time, we'll send you a video of it afterwards that you can watch at your leisure. We're basically, our plan is we're going to give away everything. I'm going to tell everybody exactly how I coach people within Team Oxygen Addict. Right. We're going to do here's the winter training plan, here's the spring training plan, here's the race specific training plan leading up to Ironman, and I'm going to give it away for free to people if they want to sit down and they're the kind of person who wants to plan their own training. I'm going to tell you everything that I know about triathlon coaching, and then at the end of it, if people want me to do it for them, they can sign up for the team, and if they don't, no worries. But we're going to I'm really excited about it. It's going to be awesome.
Sounds like a really good deal.
You're going to have an hour and a half free. It's a long one, I tell you. But we're going to do it all, and just if people are wondering how to train and they don't want to have a coach or they can't afford a coach, fine, no problem. But here's how we do it, and here's all the information, and come and have a look and check it out. Even if you can't be there in person, we'll send you the video afterwards you can watch in your own time.
Win-win, Rob.
Got to help some people out, Helen.
I think that is win-win, honestly.
It's a community, mate. We've got to... I like it. I was talking with the guys from the Slice of Tri podcast, and they were saying they had this feeling that the UK was much more community-based than the US, and that we had a real community feel to our clubs and our events over here. And I thought about that after I spoke to them and thought, I think you're probably right. We genuinely do have a triathlon community feel in this country, don't we?
Yeah, even at the finish line yesterday, honestly, I felt like I just started talking to, to sort of the top, 4 or 5 women. And it honestly felt like I had known them for years and I had literally never, ever met them.
Nice.
We were just chatting away. Really nice, isn't it? Yeah, really, really good. So I agree with that. And people like sharing, tips and experiences and everything like that. And Rob, talking of community, because I think there is a bit of a Cup of Tri community as well. And I just wanted to say, to everyone who has filled in our survey, thank you so much, because it's actually really, really helpful. If you haven't done it, you can still do it. There will be a link on our Twitter feed. There's a link on Facebook as well. And really, we're not trying to sell anything. We're not trying to.
Well, we're doing it because we want to try and improve the podcast,
exactly.
aren't we? That's the idea of it.
So
10 questions. It'll take you 2 minutes to fill out on SurveyMonkey, and we just want to know what you like about the show, what else you'd like about the show, what we can improve, what we can drop. Basically, give us your feedback and help make the show even better. That's all it is, isn't it?
Exactly. So, and Rob, reading the comments so far, generally, it seems that it's good. It seems like we're doing an okay thing. So
it seems like people like it, which is good. So anything else you want to put comments in, this is your chance to shape the show over the coming year. If there's more age groupers you want to hear from, if there's more women you want to hear from, if there's more para-triathletes you want to hear from, if there's more pros you want to hear from, get it in there. And this is your chance to tell us and help shape the show over the next year. So if you don't do it, then you can't complain if the show isn't how you want it to be.
Correct. And we can't promise to do everything, but we'll certainly read everything. So
we sure will.
Thank you.
And while we're on the subject of that, I'll tell you can help us out, right? Like us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and if you could leave us a review on iTunes. The iTunes reviews are the only way that Apple rank podcasts. So the more reviews you've got and the more stars you've got, the higher you appear in the ranking. So you guys could really help us out by just leaving one sentence to say you like the show and a few stars there. That would be brilliant and would help us appear higher in the rankings, which means that helps us out with the sponsors. It helps us out with listener numbers. That'd be great. We'd really appreciate it. And at that point, I think we go to our interviews, don't we?
I think we do, Rob. I think we go to our interviews of the week because it is a very, very busy week in the world of triathlon. It's Kona.
It is indeed, right. So we'll do Rachel first, Rachel Hallam, who's racing in Kona this week, and then we'll do Thorsten from tryrating.com. We'll do him and his reviews, and then after we've listened to that, Hals, you and I can chat about Kona and what we think is going to happen. So let's go to our interviews now.
Rachel Hallam, hello and welcome to the Cover Triathlon podcast.
Hi Helen, nice to speak to you.
I'm very excited to have you on, Rachel. I'm excited to get most people on the podcast, but
I bet.
But I was looking forward to chatting to you because you're a very, very amazing age grouper, and you're off to Kona.
Yeah, exciting stuff, hey?
Like literally, you fly. So we're recording this on a Monday. You fly in 2 days' time. That's right,
yeah,
isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, so I'll be knee deep in packing in a couple of hours' time. That's fun.
But your journey in triathlon, well, in Ironman racing, hasn't actually been that long, has it?
No, I did my first Ironman Bolton last July. Yeah, that was my first one. Yeah, so not long at all, really. Yeah,
and qualified for Kona on the first attempt.
Yeah.
Wow. So in total, will this be Ironman race number 4?
4. You've got it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, I've big learning curve. It's been good. Yeah, I've enjoyed the journey so far. I'm excited to see what Kona brings. Really.
Wow. Well, we can come on to Kona a little bit later.
Sure.
I want to know, have you come from a triathlon background? Were you a triathlon person when you were younger, or what happened?
No, I was a team sports person when I was younger. My dad's a big rugby cricket fan, and growing up on the farm, I used to always kick a rugby ball about with my brother, play a bit of cricket, and my dad built us a cricket net and things like that. And I played rugby really up until I was at university. I played through the England age groups and represented my country at rugby, which was quite exciting and good at the time. But then, I lost a bit of mojo with the rugby and took up triathlon in my last year of university, Harper Adams at Shropshire Agricultural College, actually.
Wow, so that would be, what, 10, 11, 12, something like that years ago?
10 years ago, my last year at college, so, yeah.
Wow. And so
a long time.
It's great. Oh, don't go there. Did you do much swimming, though, as a youngster? Because you're a really good swimmer, aren't you?
I never did club swimming, but because we're living on a farm, my dad basically dug us out a swimming pool on the farm because we never used to go on holidays. So we just got this little 10-metre swimming pool in the back garden. And my mum taught me to swim in that, really, and I did a few lessons and stuff at school, but never really swam club or anything.
Wow. And yet you are one of the fastest swimmers out there in the age group, aren't you?
Yeah, hard work, perseverance, and yeah, just got to get your head down and crack on with it really. Helps having some good coaching and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's it's just got to be dogged about it. And so with swimming, I think it's just keep at it. It's one of those things, it just does eventually click.
So would you say that, did you start, so you said about 10 years ago when you finished in your last year of university,
That's
did
right.
you start swim training at that point, or has it been more in the past sort of 5
No,
6
I
years?
pretty much got into the pool at Newport in Shropshire. There's a lovely old pool in Newport, and about 25 metres. It's pretty pretty nondescript, but got in there and just got my head down. And in fact, I went to Stafford Tri, was my first tri club, and did some swimming and stuff there, and then picked it up from there really.
Wow. And so you spent a few years racing shorter distance, didn't you?
That's right, yeah. I was always scared to go long. I said I'd never go long. I said I made the joke. But yeah, no, I did sort of sprint Olympic, dabbled in a bit of elite racing, sort of Olympic distance. But obviously not coming from a swimming background, I was always on a back foot a little bit. But yeah, enjoyed that. In fact, I ended up burning myself out for a year and took a bit of time out of try, and then got back into it properly again 3 years ago.
Wow, that's great. So what happened when you burnt yourself out?
Yeah, I think I took it too seriously. I think a lot of newbies into triathlon it gets very addictive, doesn't it? Sort of the training, you want to get better, you want to get fast, you see improvements quickly, and you don't listen to those around you say take time out and have a break. And I think I just burnt myself out and ran myself into the ground really, and lost the love for it a little bit. Got a bit ill and what have you. So took a couple of years out, worked on the farm, got stuck in at home for a bit. And yeah, I did a bit of cycling just for enjoyment, did a few sporties, these foreign sporties like the Marmot and what have you, and then decided, right, I'll get back into it.
And was there a moment that, were you, I don't know, up a mountain in France or something, or Italy, and you're like, yeah, actually, I've been through this, I want to go back into it, but I'm going to add a little bit more fun this time?
Yeah, you know what? It was actually when I realised that the World Champs were coming to London in 2012.
Yep.
And I was like, right, I want to be there. I want to race that. So that's what got me back into it. So I did a bit of short distance Olympic distance for a year, and then it was like, right, what's next?
And how did you do in London?
Yeah, not too bad. In fact, I came down with the flu the week of the race, which was a bit annoying, but
Typical.
Typical. Yes, that's right. Typical taper, you know. But then I came 7th. I was a little bit disappointed because I just couldn't run. My chest was so tight. But 7th is still pretty respectable.
I think that's pretty respectable. I think a lot of people would love to say, yep, I came 7th at the World Champs.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm just having a think. Would Laura Siddle have beaten you, or is she in a different age group?
Yes, was she my age group or she above age group above? I think she was. Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah, I can't remember. It's so long ago now. But yeah, she won. That's right, indeed. Yeah.
Wow. So then from London, did that then give you the love back again?
It did. Yeah. I got really inspired then, and it was like, right, what's next? So I spent a year then just I did like the Castle Triathlon Series races, did a few of those, and then I was like, right, I want to go to Kona. So Ironman is next. Was next on the list really.
And how did you choose Ironman UK as a race that you were going to target to try to get to Kona?
Yeah, well, it boiled down for me at that time. It was cost really, and I guess I'm a tough athlete, and I think Bolton's a tough athlete's course. I think if you're strong on the bike and can bear the British weather, I think it's a good choice. So I was like, right, it's got to be Bolton really.
And how was it as a first Ironman experience?
Bit of an eye-opener. It was, from what I remember, it was tipping it down with rain on the start line. We had hailstorm, I think, as well during the second lap of the swim. First day of the bike was pretty wet and gnarly, and it was like, yeah, grit your teeth and get on with it. Really, this is Ironman racing.
Did you? I don't know. I mean, what had you got up to in terms of training miles and everything like that, and like hours out there? Did you suddenly get to, I don't know, 9 hours into the race and think, oh man, this is a long day.
Yeah, it was all a bit surreal, to be honest. I'd actually had a foot injury leading into the race, so I hadn't really done much run mileage. I'd probably run 90 minutes was my longest run leading into it, so it was all a bit see what happens on the run, really. Try and reserve a bit on the bike as usual, and then see where we go on the run, and it just fell into place, really. Don't get me wrong, I went through a few bad patches and was like, oh, what am I doing? But I just dog it out, really. It was my mantra.
And so your finish time was 10:28?
That's it, yeah, spot on.
Wow, for a first ever Ironman.
Yeah, I was quite pleased.
That's amazing. That's really good. So what did you sort of come away from that? Obviously with a place to go to Kona, but what did you come away from that thinking?
I want more. I guess it was like, right, I know I can improve on this, and I know I can get stronger. So it was just the motivation to better myself, really, having done my first one.
And did you take much time off after Bolton, then in the run up to peak again for Kona?
If I recall, I probably took a couple of weeks easy, sort of like really, really sort of easy recovery, and then I think we sort of had an 8-week build, but I was still struggling with a run injury, so I didn't run hardly at all leading into Kona. It was mainly a bike swim focus, and unfortunately, as I say, I didn't get the chance to do much running, but I had some good physio help that helped me get through. Andrea, my physio from Run 3D, she was amazing, but actually got me on the start line in Kona, to be honest with you, because I could barely run 5 minutes after Bolton.
Wow. Physios are amazing, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. If you find a good physio, they're worth a weight in gold, literally.
Wow. And just the sort of the support team that you can surround yourself with.
That's just it. Yeah, you got a coach. It's like my coach Mark Livesey. He's been outstanding this year. Sort of, obviously being a farmer, it's trying to get your head around, trying to get enough training in around work. It's a nightmare. But you've got to have support network, physios, masseurs. They all it's coaches, in family as well, especially. It's a big team. Everyone's got to buy into it, really.
So when you went to Kona last year, did you think it was all that it was cracked up to be for you? Was it really better than you had expected? What was it?
It was a shock, I must say. It was like off this planet, really. It's bit of an eye opener, that's for sure. You can see how people go out there and just explode, really, and just overtrain while they're out there and just get caught up in it, really. It's a bit of a whirlwind. We stayed a couple of days after Kona, and the island just changes completely when the Ironman ship rolls out of town. It's weird.
Did you like both parts of it? The Ironman part of it and the non-Iron part?
Yeah, exactly. The chilled out part afterwards. It was like, right, okay, now this is now we can relax a bit. But it's pretty surreal, to be honest. You're sort of in a bit of an Ironman bubble where you're out there, that's for sure.
And what did you take away from your first experience of Kona? Because I don't think it was the race that you had hoped for, was it?
No, it didn't go to plan, to be honest with you. I learned a lot of lessons, to be honest with you. And it also gave me the drive again to try and get back out there this year and better myself, really, because I knew it wasn't the performance I was capable of. But I don't think there are many athletes out there who have their best performance in Kona. I think the nature of the island, the nature of the race, there are some athletes that really do perform on the day and get it right, but there's so many athletes that don't. You see the amount of pros that are on the sideline throwing up. You're not the only one. It's like no other race out there, I think.
So what do you think didn't quite go to plan for you? Was it nutrition? Was it heat? Was it a mixture of everything?
I think it was a combination of everything, to be honest with you. I can't really pinpoint one thing. I think I ingested quite a lot of salt water in the swim. I went too hard probably in the swim as well. And then the first hour of the bike, I tried to get solids down me where I probably should have just looked to try and get fluid. Maybe had my heart rate too high because I was trying to work out, because obviously the heart rate's going to be high because of the heat, and you're not used to the heat. Well, hopefully you're more used to the heat being out there pre the race, but it's working out where your body is. And I think I just tried to get solids and food in me too soon. And then the body said no after that, and I couldn't keep anything down. So, yeah, not pleasant.
What was the run like?
Walk.
What was the walk like?
Put it this way, my bike time and my run time were pretty much equal. Yeah, it was just dogged determination. I couldn't go out of that way and not get to the finish line. I was like, tried running, and it was like the body was literally on its last legs. So it was like, right, I'm just going to walk this way. I've got to walk it. But my poor husband, I saw his face when he saw me, and it was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I've let you down. Come on this way, and I'm walking.
But you weren't. You said that you saw Meredith Kessler as well.
That's right. Yeah, she was literally on the sidelines throwing up just like me, and I was like, right, okay, it's not just me who makes mistakes. Then it's it's a real fine line. I know the pros they really do push it to the limits and push the limits of that fine line. But it did make things a little bit more bearable, I guess.
And it would have been so easy for her to just stop.
I know,
and say,
she was an inspiration that day, because she was walking it and she finished it, and I was like, right, she's a pro, she could easily just pull out and rest up and race again, but no, she finished it, and I was like, right, you can do this as well, Rich, you'll come on.
Overall, even though the race didn't go to plan, did you love it?
Oh, absolutely. You can't not go out there and love it. There's something quite special about racing the Ironman World Champs. It's like, I got the finisher's medal. Yeah, you can't not love it, really. Look back on it, I'm super motivated by the experience. So, yeah.
And how do you think your lead up this time has been different? Obviously, you did a different race to qualify, but how's it been different?
Yeah, well, firstly, I've got Mark Livesley, my coach, on board this year, and he's had experience of racing Kona himself. He and obviously Caroline have both done it and both done well out there. I think that was a good first step to get him on board, and he understands the race and what it takes to do well out there. I think racing Lanzarote is a hot race again. It's a sea swim. It's a tough race, so that was good to practice nutrition. I think that was a good key decision, I think, to race that. And then I've been sat on the turbo trainer in my hot room that my husband has prepared for me. He's put a tent in our spare room with a heater in it and a humidifier, so I've been doing nasty turbo sessions in there, try and get the body used to the heat.
What kind of temperatures does it get up to in your special humidity room with a tent?
I dread to think I didn't want to put a thermometer in there. But this way, I drank sort of 3 litres of water in there in an hour the other day, so it was pretty warm. Yeah, it's pretty sauna temperatures, I'd say, in there.
So how does it? So like literally, is it a normal kind of
tent?
You might go camping in the outer sheet.
It's the whole tent in there. So it's quite, so it's not very pleasant. So,
I love this.
Yeah, bless him.
Have you got something to, almost pretend that it's the wind, like to get the wind effect as well?
No, because I suppose we could. Nothing like that really. No, it's just hot. I think that's enough.
So you've been doing cycling in there?
Yes.
And then I don't know, do you do any sort of heat adaptation for the run, or do you just...
Yeah, because I live on a farm, so we've got quite a few sheds and stuff, and I've got a treadmill, because we don't get to run on the roads much around here, because there's not much light to be able to run the roads. So I've actually got a treadmill in quite a warm barn as well, which always gets warm when the sun's out. Not quite the temperatures of the hot turbo room, but that's been pretty warm, and done some good brick sessions running off the turbo in there. So I say I've done pretty much tried to tick as many boxes. I've been sat in the sauna after swimming sessions as well for sort of 20 minutes, half an hour, building that up as well. So we shall see.
And did you do most of that as well last year?
To be honest, no, I didn't really. I guess I didn't really appreciate how hot it is out there. Obviously, I've read stories and stuff, and it's like, right, I'm sure my body will adapt to it and stuff. But I think if you want to do well out there, you've got to try and tick every box possible, really. I couldn't really afford to go out to Lanza. It would have been nice to go out to Lanza for a couple of weeks leading into Kona, or get out to Kona earlier, but being an amateur athlete, these things just you can't do it really.
No.
And with a full-time job, it's not really able to. So just try and do the best I can at home.
And how did Ironman Lanzarote compare to Ironman UK for you?
Almost complete opposite. It wasn't in the sense that it was a good result and I had a great race, but the conditions were obviously complete opposite. It was early in the season, so I'd just come off the back of our most busy time of year on the farm with lambing and sheep shearing. I'd been shearing sheep the week before pretty much, and it was a case of, right, okay, body, see what we've got really, and it proved me did okay really in the end. So
you did amazingly. Were you 8th or 9th? Like, your first amateur, weren't you?
Yeah, I think it was a 7th, was I? Yeah,
7th.
7th. Yeah. So yeah, yeah, good race.
That's incredible. And right, Rachel, you mentioned there sheep shearing. You mentioned you work on a farm.
Yeah.
How do you do all the training? Because farming is not a 9 to 5 job.
It's not a 9 to 5 job. You're right. It's a lifestyle job. It's a 24/7 job, I guess, at times. I guess I'm lucky in the fact that my dad's pretty accommodating really, and if we've got a quiet window I can go and train, he'll allow me that. But when the farm needs me, I have to down tools and we just have to crack on. The animals come first really, and it's just about time management really. I'm usually up for 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning to get a session in the morning before work, like a lot of most amateur athletes. But yeah, it's obviously it keeps me naturally fit being on the farm. I'm always running around the farm and obviously physically fit from all the physical aspects of the job. But it literally is. You've just got to, sometimes if you've got a window to train, you have to utilise it. And planning really. Yeah.
And how do you plan your season, knowing that, for a big chunk of it, sort of around springtime,
yeah,
you're going to be flat out on the farm with work. Work takes the priority. So how do you plan for that?
Yeah, well, I'm quite lucky. My coach Mark, he understands me a little bit, understands the job a bit, and obviously we use his platform Train Excel, and we just communicate really every day. I try and communicate to him was right, what's coming up on the farm, and what if I've got a window, when can I fit a session in around, when can I move a session and do it then, and literally it's being able to catnap as well is very important, especially lambing time. You don't get a solid night's sleep, you just get a couple of hours here and there, and I can just literally go and switch off and go and lay in the bed and fall asleep like that. I could do it now if I wanted. It's quite a skill.
I think that is a skill, but I think that once you get used to doing that in your life, then somehow you can just switch off and sleep, can't you?
I think you're right. You can. I think it's like anything. I think you can train your body to do it. I think it's that mental capacity to just switch off. I think it's quite if you can practice it and master it, it's invaluable. I think of being an athlete. It's
And do you have to train your body as well, do you think, to be able to put in a session at any time of day?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I must admit I think throughout the year it changes as to when I can train in a day as well. It's like during lambing, I often do the night shift, and I have to try and adapt my body to train at 3 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock at night, that sort of thing. If a window's there, it's like, right, grab a quick coffee, jump on the treadmill or jump on the turbo. It's coffee. A bit of an addict, as most athletes are, but it's
I think that's massive dedication though as well, because I think it would be so easy for people to say no, oh no, I can't fit that in, I cannot fit that in. So to hear someone saying, yeah, you know what, I get on the treadmill at 3 o'clock in the morning, that's quite cool.
Yeah, but I think if you're motivated and you've got a goal and you want something badly enough, you'll make the time, or you'll make yourself do it. Obviously, there are times when I get on the treadmill and it's like, right, the body's just too tired to train, and you have to listen to your body as well. I think it's quite key. There's sometimes you can do the warm up and you feel really crap, but you go through the session and you feel better, and you can carry on with it. But sometimes if during the warm up and you still feel rubbish at the end of the warm up, you've got to listen to your body and say, right, no, I can't do it. I think that's a massive learning curve that I've gone through in my life. I think, and through triathlon, I've been able to develop that ability to listen to my body.
And what about the off season? Are you able to have a bit of an off season? Because obviously, as soon as triathlon, perhaps after Kona, you're still going to be busy on the farm doing the hard physical work.
This time of year, I'm very lucky on the sheep farm. It's quite quiet at this time of year, so it's just the day-to-day jobs really at this time of year, and tick over really maintenance. I've got to crutch some sheep out when I get home from Kona. Before we put the rams in with the ewes for for mating season. But no, our biggest, most intense period is sort of spring, really. So it's ideal for me for Kona, but it's not quite so ideal for beginning of season races. I'm never at my fittest at the beginning of the season.
And yet you can still come 7th overall.
Right.
That's brilliant. What about, Rachel, the transition from rugby into triathlon? Because that would have given you a good background, not necessarily for the swim part, but the physical side of it.
Yeah, no, obviously, as well as being a farmer, it's sort of I've always been a strong athlete. I was like always in the rugby team. I was always the fittest, probably on the pitch, because I just used to run around like a headless chicken most of the times. But no, it's I guess I've sort of always had an engine, so that was always quite good to be able to transfer to triathlon. But they are quite different sports, very much so. Sort of just the nature of it being a team sport to a more individual sport as well. But no, I played rugby sort of since I was a kid, really. I used to run around with a rugby ball on the farm with my brother and friends, and and so it was quite a nice change. I think I was ready for a change, I guess, of sport, really. And with triathlon, you don't get bored. It's 3 sports.
Did you do much strength and conditioning in your rugby training, which you've managed to translate over to triathlon as well?
Yeah,
I think that's an area that a lot of people I don't know, it's easy to say, no, you know what, I'm going to spend another hour on a bike or an hour going out running. But
I think strength side is key, and especially for injury prevention as well. I guess because I have had a background in a fair bit of strength conditioning, it's sort of, I guess it has made me a strong athlete, and touch wood a little bit less injury susceptible. But I don't want to I shouldn't say that, really. But no, I think a lot of athletes do neglect, especially triathletes. They sort of get into the bubble of, I must swim, bike, run, and I can't forgo a swim, bike, run session for a gym session. But as we come into the off season, I think it really is essential to get in the gym and at least do 1 or 2 sessions a week of some basic body weight exercises, if anything, and then try and look to put a bit of strength on as well. I think it's invaluable, especially cycling and running, and I guess it really has helped my sort of triathlon career, I guess, and sort of the strength on the bike as well, I think is key, because I've got that strength background.
And which is your weapon, the swim, bike or run, or all 3 together, would you say?
I wouldn't say I've got a weapon. I think I'm lucky in the sense I'm quite an even athlete. I never really think, right, it's run time right now, now's the time for me to go, or anything like that, or swim, right, I must get out front because I've got to utilise my swim. I think I'm pretty lucky in the sense I'm fairly even, which obviously is a good thing.
And I don't know, 3 years down the line, can you still see yourself going off to Kona and
goodness me, I don't know what I'm doing next season yet, let alone 3 years time, my word. A lot can happen in that time, but I'd like to, absolutely, if funds will allow. That's the problem. It's so expensive.
It's mad, isn't it? And can you, I don't know, would you ever be tempted to try for the pro license, getting that pro card, or are you happy?
It's a minefield, isn't it? I don't know. I really don't know. I need to have a look at things after Kona this year, and what happens out there, and reassess really for next year. To have a chat to Mark, my coach, and see what we do really. People have asked me this question already recently. I'm like, I don't know. Help. It's a big jump to make, and I think a lot of that age group athletes they think they can go pro and what have you, and I think it's not a case of going pro. I think it's obviously, if you're a full-time athlete as well, there's no money in triathlon unless you're really, I think, at the peak of the sport, and unless you've got some sort of financial backing behind you, it's a massive jump, I think. And I know there are some athletes this year who made that jump. Kim Morrison, Nikki Bartlett have made the jump from age group and done really well, and it's an inspiration to me to see what they've done actually. And it's I don't know. We'll see.
I guess you've always got that difficult decision of being on the farm as well.
That's the thing. It's the commitment on the farm. It's like, can I really put the hours into it to justify going pro as well. And the commitment throughout the year that you need. I can commit now when we're quiet on the farm, but Dad needs me for lambing, and there's not much I can do about that really, because we're only a small farm, so it doesn't justify being able to employ someone else if I was to go pro triathlete or what have you. So it's not straightforward.
Do you love the lambing side of it?
It's so rewarding, but it's so tiring. It is the most rewarding time of the year, and I love it. But then I hate it as well because it's so tiring. You're just a wreck for it's one of the, it's like an Ironman. You just got to get your head down 4 or 6 weeks and get on with it. I think that just sort of helps my Ironman, I guess, racing, because I can just get my head down and get to finish. You got to do this, and I guess I'm a bit bloody minded like that.
I bet there aren't many other sheep farmers who will be lining up against you.
No, although you know that I've just been a guy's just got in contact with me. He's a dairy farmer and wants to take up triathlon, and has asked me to help him out with a bit of coaching actually, because obviously I understand being a farmer and being an athlete, and so that's quite a niche, I suppose.
That is market yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, so interesting times.
That's brilliant though.
Yeah. No, he found me on social media, I think, and I was like, right, okay, you'll be the good person to speak to. So
I love that. So do you do quite a lot of coaching?
I'm not quite a lot. I've got a couple of athletes. In fact, one of my guys, I started doing a bit of coaching a couple of years ago. My first guys I started coaching Chris Palfreyman. He raced Ironman Mallorca on Saturday and did 9:30 for his first Ironman. So big well done to him.
Awesome news. And are you involved in the Oxford University triathlon?
Yes, I coach. I do a bit of coaching in my spare time. I help them out with a bit of coaching. Yeah, they usually have a varsity match each year against Cambridge, and Oxford dominated this year, which was good. And we've got a couple of, in fact, there's a couple of pros who actually within the squad. Sophia Saylor, the German ITU athlete, she trains with us, and Brad Williams as well. He comes swimming with us as well. Does some of my swim sessions. So it's always good to have a massive variety of athletes there. You've got complete beginners to these two pros at the end of the other lane, which is awesome.
That's fantastic. And Rachel, what tip would you have for anyone listening to this age group? What would your tip be for them?
Have a dream, always have that dream, and if someone said you can't do it, well, I think you can. It's you've got to surround yourself with people who believe in you and want you to help you get to that dream, and I think anything's possible really.
Love it. And a shout out for some of your sponsors or team around you.
Team around me, obviously Mark Livesey, my coach, he's been awesome this year. Train Exhale, fantastic training platform. Get on it, guys. It really is good. Guys have also helped me Orca this year with wetsuits and apparel. They've been awesome. Orbea bikes. True Start coffee as well. Can't live without my coffee, that's for sure. Vittoria tyres and wheels. They've just come on board with me actually this year. In fact, that was through a Harper Adams contact actually. Yeah, exactly. So that's quite cool. And the guys at Athlete Service in Henley have been awesome this year. Giving me help with sort of physio as well, and Run 3D as well. Andrew, they're my physio. So that's pretty much the team. And obviously my husband, I couldn't do what I do without him really. He's my brick, my rock rather.
Oh, fantastic. Well, Rachel, best of luck for Kona Take 2.
Thank you. Yes.
We'll be following with interest.
I can't do a lot worse than last year, hey.
It will be amazing whatever happens.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Thanks, Helen.
Yeah, definitely. The fingers are crossed. Best of luck and enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's good to talk to you.
All right, so Thorsten, welcome back to the Cup of Tri podcast. Thanks very much for joining us, man. How are you today?
Oh, busy as always. I mean, I had a couple of long nights on the weekend to get the report done. Had to go to work today, and that was a lot of fun. So now I enjoy being able to talk triathlon again.
Well, I've got to say, man, I downloaded your report this morning and it was like an hour of my day gone because I was sitting there going, I'll just have a quick look at this. And it's about, what is it, like 80 pages long or something? It's insane.
I think it was 127 at the end. Yeah.
I've not even got a quarter of the way through it then. It's just brilliant, man. As one triathlon geek to another, I respect you. There should be some kind of badge of honor of triathlon geeks that you get awarded the Hall of Fame award for it, man, because it's absolutely brilliant.
Well, I mean, I got to do a quick shout out to Jordan Rapp because he sent me an error in the pics that you and Helen did, which is I think on page 123 or something. I don't know.
Oh, really?
He must have gone through that and found it out. I don't know how he did that.
Well, impressive stuff from him, man. That's I think he's right up there with us, isn't he? As Tri Geeks.
Oh, yeah,
God bless him.
There's
just a lot faster than us.
Oh, yeah, I don't think we'll ever be as fast as him. Yeah, that's for sure.
We can hope, right? All right, so listen, let's obviously the report we're talking about is your tri rating Kona. It's the kind of ahead of time report and a recap of all the races of the year and all the stats around pretty much every Ironman professional racer, male and female, across the whole of this year leading into Kona. And also you've got like predicted times from people based on the statistics of the races that they've done. So like give us the greatest hits of what it is for people who, there might be people out there who've never heard of you and what your service is essentially.
Yeah, well, I follow professional long distance racing, Ironman racing, challenge races over the long distance, 70.3 racing. And I collect race results. I offer predictions for upcoming races, do all kinds of analysis. And through that, I've come in touch with a lot of the pro athletes, and a lot of them like the information that I'm putting out on trirating.com. And yeah, it was just fun of getting their input, their views on how they view Kona, their expectations for the race, who they think needs to be watched, and put all that together in something that's grown and grown over the years. I think the first time that I put it out 5 or 6 years ago, it was like 20 pages, and then from year to year, it always got longer and longer. And I've started to chop off the stuff that was just data and pages and pages of data. So the previous results of all the people racing in Kona, I chopped that off, and it's just stuff to read, a couple of graphs, basically trying to look back to the 2015 race, how that unfolded, and then look forward to 2016, who's in there, the strengths and weaknesses of all the athletes, how I think the race might unfold, and a lot of details on each of the athletes there.
All right, great stuff, man. So that's a cool recap. And so let's jump right into it. Let's firstly go with a worldview, because I'm sure everyone's kind of got their own opinion, haven't they, on what's going to happen. But who do you fancy for the podium for the women's race? Let's start with the women's race first. Who do you think is going to take it out and get second and third there?
Well, I mean, for the women's, it's similar for the men's and women's races this year. There's two front runners that everyone is talking about, and then the third spot is wide open. There's a lot of candidates for that. So for the women, it's obviously Daniela Riff and Mirinda Carfrae that we're looking at, that we can discuss ad nauseum, and that I'm sure a lot of the other podcasts will do. If nothing happens to them, like to Rinny last year when she was in an accident and couldn't really race, that'll be, let's say, 2 of the top 3 spots that'll be gone if nothing weird happens in the race. And similar for the man, that would be Frodo.
You're not being drawn on who you think's going to win it, are you?
I don't think that my methodology works like I look at previous race results and I try to gather what the trend is and how the athletes will do. Kona is always a different story. I mean, you could look at so many reasons why Daniela would win, and you could look at so many reasons why Rinny will win. I think it comes down to who's going to have the best day on race day, and then things could swing either way. To me, it would be great to see Rinny have a satisfying race in Kona again, and for whether that means that she'll be able to beat Daniela or not, just being able to see her go strong, race well, smash the rest of the field, and then hopefully comes down to pretty close outcome at the end.
Yeah, and I think that's the race everyone wants to see, isn't it? Because you've got two very different kind of athletes there. You've got Daniela, who we know is a stronger sort of swim biker than Miranda is, but then Miranda is such a strong runner when she's in form that you could possibly get this kind of running 20 minutes or 15 minutes into Daniela, and it's all down to how well she holds together in the heat. So I think it could make for a really exciting race, but maybe not until the closing couple of miles, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I look forward to how the live coverage is going to take care of this issue, because if everything goes well, then they will only be close to each other, well, at the start line, obviously, and then maybe the last 2, 3, 4, 5 miles on the run course. Everything in between, there'll be a couple of minutes between them, and the question is, basically comes down to how many minutes will Rinny be behind in T2, and how many minutes can she run into Daniela. But the way this year has unfolded for both of them, they've improved in the areas that the other one is really good at. Daniela has run a sub-3 marathon in great conditions in Rode. Rinny has run well in Austria, but Rinny has also biked very well in Austria, and I think that maybe didn't get too much attention. I mean, she was just 4 minutes off the bike course record in Austria, which is a fast course, but still there's a lot of really good bikers that did Austria, and she was just 4 minutes off the course record there. So Rinny improved her bike, Daniela improved her run, should make it closer than ever before, but you never know what happens on race day, right?
Could end up being one of those, we could get the female Iron War, couldn't we? If you potentially get the situation where Rinny catches her with a mile to go and then they're running head to head, that would just be awesome. It would make for such a great spectacle.
I mean, the scenario that I would like to have even more is if Mel Hauschild, who's also a really great runner, and bikes up to Mirinda, they come together into T2, say 12 minutes back to Daniela, and then they say, okay, let's work together, try and catch her, and then you potentially could end up with 3 athletes pretty close together towards the end of the run there. And I've got no idea how that would turn out.
Yeah, that's a real good call, actually. No one's considered it like that, because people talk, don't they, about like the second train in the men's race with the stronger bikers, but you're dead right. Mel Hauschild might only be a couple of minutes down out of the water on Rinny, and if they can ride together legally, that would be a massive benefit for both of them, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and there's a number of other athletes that should also be around the Rinny group. Van Vlerken would be someone who's got a slower swim and probably a better bike. Might overtake that group, and then maybe someone will try to hold on there. There's just so many different nuances that could develop out of that group.
Yeah, you've got Lucy Gossage as well, of course. If she's in form, we've seen that she's been doing. I don't know if you've seen this. She put a video out on Twitter today of her last 6 months of training while she's had a broken collarbone. It's brilliant. And again, if she can kind of ride with that little group as well as another super strong biker there. So, yeah, that would be super exciting, wouldn't it? Let's just hope the coverage gets it. Because, let's be honest, the Ironman coverage is notorious for following the lead female on her own for about a 90-minute period without telling you what's going on sometimes.
Yeah, and I know it's hard for them because they need to get splits and all that, and that's not easy to get by without GPS coverage probably that we had last year. I mean, there's so many stuff in the women's race, or if you just go beyond the top 2 or 3 spots, just the race that we had last year for 4 to 10, with the position shifts late in the run, Susie Cheatham running through the field, Lucy running through the field, Heather Jackson moving up, Sarah Piano moving up. There were so much changes pretty late in the race, and I don't think that got any attention on the live feed there. So there's so many stories going on in the race that sometimes it's a shame how little coverage these stories get.
And that's what's really good, man, about the little graphs you've put together within your report kind of show how the positions have changed at different points during the race, which is really interesting to look at. It almost looks like one of those It reminds me of the graphs that wheel companies produce to show drag at different yaw angles. And you can see how the coloured lines, different athletes. Like, honestly, guys, listen, if you've not got Thorsten's report, go and get it. If you're a stats geek like me, there's like 6 Sundays worth of reading in it. It's brilliant, man. So maybe they should employ you to do some stuff live on race day, man. You've got the ideas right here.
Yeah, I'm trying to feed stories to them. Yeah, let's see how much I can catch up. I mean, a lot of that is... it's easy after the race when you have all the time in the world to sift through the data and pick up on these trends. It's not always easy to get that done in the middle of the race with limited data. So yeah, I know that the job that they have in the live coverage, Michael Vado and Welchi, it's not an easy job that they have, but sure. Still. They're criticizing them, I guess, is easy. Doing it better is hard, but
they're in the really hard spot, aren't they? Because they're doing a great job with I mean, imagine trying to commentate live on Ironman for 9 hours without really getting any information. They do a cracking job, man. So listen, right, that's the ladies' race then. You're resolutely being undrawn as to what the statistics is going to say, and we'll go with that. We'll say Thorsten's confidently predicting that it's going to be either Daniela Ryf or Rinny. So that's great. And let's move over onto the men's side. What do you think is going to happen there? I think most people have got a gut feel on this, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, Frodo has been so strong the last couple of years that basically it comes down to, if nothing happens in his race, Sebi's got to have a really good idea of how to beat him. He will try a couple of things, would be my guess. If he's able to make them stick in the race, I can't really see that happen. But I'm sure he'll give it a hard.
It's hard to see anybody biking away, isn't it? It's hard to see anyone getting away from Frodeno.
Yeah, and even if Sebi gets, say, 2 minutes on him in T2, that's stuff that Frodo should be able to run into him without too many problems, without a problem that makes it sound too easy. I mean, Sebi ran like a 2:44 in Frankfurt, so it's not like he's a slow runner like in the old times when you had like a 2:55 winning for Norman Stadler when he did the bike course record. I think he just ran slightly over 3 hours. It's not like Sebi is running at that level. He's running at a 2:45, at a 2:50 level in Kona, and it's not. He's not a slow runner at all.
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? I mean, he's really,
does he need?
Yeah, he's really lifted his game on the run this last year. And it was hot again in Frankfurt this year, and he's shown he can run 2:44 in the heat. And so the prediction kind of says, well, Sebi will run 2:56, but maybe he's got to be going in there confident in his head that he can run 2:44, 2:45. And like you said, it could well end up being a side-by-side run battle with the two of them right out of T2, couldn't it? It could be a real mental battle, war of attrition for 2 3/4 hours.
Yeah, I mean, the different story that I have in mind is Andy Böcherer is also in the race, who is a strong swim biker, maybe not quite the runner, or at least he was in the past. I mean, in Frankfurt, he had a great run too. But he may be one that could team up with Sebi, trying to ride away from the big group that usually forms, and then work together in extending the lead. And then I don't know what happens if Sebi has, say 5 or 6 minutes in Q2 on Frodo. Then things start to look a little bit different. But first, he needs to be able to get the separation from Frodo. And the way Frodo has been riding in the past and in Rot in the summer this year, I can't really see that happen. But we've seen stranger things happening in Kona in the last years.
Would you think some guys are going to gang up to try and take Frodo down, like we saw with Macca a few years ago? Basically, organise a little group of guys to ride with him, and sort of say, you know, look, if anyone's going to beat Crowe, we've all got to go for it on the bike, and whoever's the strongest man on the run's going to win. And then looking back, you realise obviously Mac has kind of played everybody and got the boys to do the work for him essentially. But you can see how in the other athletes' heads, that makes sense to them. You know, we can either sit in this train and Crowe's going to win on the run, or we can have a go for it and see if something happens. So do you see him maybe, I don't know if there's anything as overt going on as organising a group of guys to ride with, but would your gut say something like that might happen, or do you think it might just happen organically on the bike?
It could happen organically, and I can especially see it happen if Frodo. I mean, the first races he did, he had flats all over the place, and I think the first time he did Kona, he also got a penalty for something. Yeah. If you have a situation where all of a sudden you have like a bigger group of 5 or 10 people on the front, and Frodo, for one reason or another, being 2 minutes behind them, then I can see that happen. I can't really see it happen if you have a front group of 10 people, Frodo running at the top of his form, and then Sebi riding away. But Sebi's been riding away from big groups in the past. The year that he won, basically that's what happened, and he had this 70.3 race in Las Vegas when he rode through the whole front group and just rode away from them.
It's like he was on a motorbike, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then Giorno's asking the athletes afterwards why they let Sebi ride away. And the answer was, we didn't let him. He rode away from the field because he was so strong.
I remember that clip so clearly.
I mean, that's a scenario that could put Frodo into a situation where he has to react to someone forcing the race on him. But first you have to create that situation, and I don't know if that's premeditated group forming up and ganging up on Frodo, or whether that just happens in the race. I mean, there's a couple of people that will be ready to risk a bit in order to try and win the race rather than go for a safe 5th place or something. Your strategy ends up being different if you go for the podium or go for the win. And there's a couple of people in there that will have an interest to do that.
Yeah. So who do you pick as your wild card to mix things up then? Who do you think's going to do something exciting?
Well, let's see. I think
I like your pick, and Andy Booker I think is a great call.
I think we have a really good chance for a German podium again this year. I mean, Sebi and Frodo. Maybe Sebi will. I mean, basically what he did last year, he probably risked a bit to try and win the race, and he ended up not getting the result that he wanted and falling away a bit. That might happen, but usually these two would be on the podium, and then Andy Böscher might be one who could end up there. Maybe one of the Brits in one of the scenarios, or one of the Americans. I mean, Tim O'Donnell had a great race last year, then didn't have a good Frankfurt. He'll be wanting to show a good race. Andy Potts has been so many times close to the podium, but he's usually one that runs through the field and probably not has an impact on how the bike unfolds.
He's been super consistent without ever hitting the podium, hasn't he?
Yeah. So Andy Rehlert is usually one that's a bit behind. I mean, there's a bunch of people in the front group. Fred van Leert might have a good year again after not racing that much this year. The list goes on and on.
Yeah, I mean, it's great, isn't it? There's literally 20 guys there who could be on the podium.
Yes.
And you look at those names and you think it could be any of them shape the race. I'm really excited to see how it plays out, man. Right, so listen, I'm gonna turn the focus on to a little bit of British centric stuff now. Let's have a quick discussion about who you think the movers and shakers first up in the men's race for the Brits are going to be this year. Who do you rate to go and do something this year?
Well, I mean, basically, you could go through the list again and ask, is he going to be a threat for the podium or maybe for the top 10? And if you go for the podium potentials on a really great day, then you got to mention Will Clark and Joe Skipper. Both went sub-8 in their summer races. Joe will be super aggressive, will be more racing smart, and then show his great run. So from a scenario, Joe will probably be a bit behind after the swim, try and make up time on the bike and then on the run as well. I don't know if you'll see too much of him during the race, but he could end up pretty far ahead. And similar for Will. He'll be probably close to the front of the race after the swim. Then the tricky part for him will be, can he hold on to the front group without wasting too much energy? And maybe he can afford to lose 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, but probably not more. And if he manages to run on the level that he's done in Frankfurt and Copenhagen, then, gosh, I mean, the podium is possible in a dream scenario, but everything has to go right for him for that.
Yeah, and he's had quite a busy racing year just trying to get there, hasn't he? Despite having essentially what were two really good races, at Frankfurt and was it Copenhagen? It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know when it catches up with him, because he says he's at least mentally, these two races have been relatively easy for him. When I spoke with him after Frankfurt, he made a great statement. He said, "This was the easiest Ironman I've ever done," because basically he was going easy, quote unquote easy, for most of the day, and the only thing that hurt was maybe his last hour, when he was mentally so motivated to be overtaking people and realizing that he actually could run well in an Ironman race. That must have been a real high for him. And similar scenario to what happened to him in Copenhagen, another easier bike ride, not wasting too much energy, and then a great run. He may just turn out to be able to repeat that in Kona. Wouldn't that be great for him?
Yeah, wouldn't it just? And how about David McNamee? He was kind of a dark horse that came through out of nowhere last year, wasn't he? And did he place 10th from memory?
Or 12th, yeah. At least he had the fastest run split, yeah.
He did, yeah. It was a storming run, wasn't it?
Let's see, where did he end up?
And he's kind of had a quiet year, hasn't he, so far?
Yeah, he was 11th last year, just less than a minute out of top 10.
That's right.
He didn't have a really great result, so I don't know if he was just saving his energy for Kona and how that turns out. I mean, last year he won the UK. I think he won Ironman UK, and then was really doing extremely well in Kona with a great run. This year he's been a little bit more quiet, so let's see what he can do in Kona. But again, the way that he races, he might be one that is able to move up into the top 10 on a good day. Probably not a contender for the podium.
Okay, cool. And anyone else over on the men's side, do you think? Tim Don, how do you rate his chances?
Yeah, I don't know. Tim, he hasn't really done... he hasn't really raced Ironman at the level that he raced at for ITU and is racing on the 70.3. I don't know how much of his focus is on doing well in Kona. But again, that might have been different this year. He didn't race quite as many 70.3s as he did in the past. Yeah, but he hasn't had a storming Ironman race yet, and usually that doesn't happen in Kona.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, isn't he, he's got a record in the past of just occasionally, and I think it's the same with any really truly great athlete, just occasionally pulling one out of the bag from what seemed like nowhere. I think he had a big win at High V and won 200 grand at Olympic distance. Mm-hmm. He won, was it Ironman Mallorca last year or the year before? And sometimes he just seems to have these incredibly stellar races. And then, as you said, he's had some really strong results over 70.3 as well. So it'd be great to see him do something at Kona. I think that'd be I think he's sort of headed towards the end of his career, really, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think that's economically probably makes a ton of sense for him to focus on 70.3 racing, because he can race a lot more. He can place well there and race again 2 weeks after. And putting all his eggs in the Kona basket, I mean, either you come up with a really good result, but most of the time you'll end up with nothing to show for it.
You end up with a big bill. 3,000 quid for airfares and a place in Harvey for 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so let's move over onto the ladies' side.
We've got one more. Make sure that Harry Wiltshire gets a mention in, because he's been on roll lately. He won his last two races before Kona, just to qualify by winning Vichy and then winning. Which did we win? 70.3 Weymouth. He said he's going to make it 3 races in a row now.
Good lad. Well, Harry's one he really grafted to get there again, didn't he? He raced all over the world last year to even get himself in, so he's not afraid of doing the hard yards to qualify, so it'd be brilliant to see him get a good result. Yeah,
though, again, top 10 would be a dream result for him. Let's see how that turns out.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, then over onto the ladies' side for the Brits. Who do you think we've got? Susie Cheetham, Lucy Gossage, Jodie Swallow, and Leander Cave racing. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts regarding those? Obviously, Jodie's just won this last weekend the ITU World Long Distance in Oklahoma, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's been racing well, but I don't know if Oklahoma was like 120 and a 30K run.
That's right.
It might be a bit too much 2 weeks out from Kona, but Jodie is a tough racer, and a lot will depend on if she can hold it together on the run. I got a statement from her coach and boyfriend, James Kunama, who said Jodie is tough, but now she knows how to, on what areas to apply her toughness.
Oh, that's interesting.
So in the past, she always was going hard for it on the bike and going hard for it on the bike and going hard again for the bike. The scenario that I would typically see Jodie is when Daniela moves by her, she'll do her best to stay with Daniela, even if that means sacrificing her chances for a good outcome of the race.
Right, yeah.
But with that statement from James, maybe she's got the confidence to race a little bit smarter and maybe say, okay, I might only have a chance to win the race if Daniela runs into issues. I'll focus on the rest of the athletes and then having a good run and seeing where that ends up for her. So yeah, Jodie might be an interesting one to watch during the race. And again, something that you may not see her quite as much in the live coverage, and in these interesting moments when Daniela moves by, does she try and go with her or not? Does she try to limit the distance? Last year she was just killing herself trying to stay close to Daniela.
Yeah. It could be an interesting one, and she suffered a bit in the heat as well in the past. So maybe if she's got a grip on that situation, that could play out for her. And obviously, Susie Cheetham was the big performance of last year from the Brits side, with a stellar run that pulled her all the way through the field into the top 10. How would you rate her chances this year?
Yeah, I think she's the one that might be able to step it up again this year. Her results have been really stellar, considering how bad the start of her season was. She did 70.3 in South Africa, took a fall on the bike and broke her elbow, and she just got ready to race South Africa, the Ironman in South Africa, just 8 weeks later or so, still managing to finish second. So that was impressive to see her, and then see her step away from the summer race that she planned to be in top shape for Kona. She was scheduled to race Challenge Road, a race she wanted to do really well, but she said she just wouldn't be able to prepare well for that and still prepare well for Kona. And just to have the to be strong enough to say, okay, I'll skip road, I'll focus on Kona and have a good result there. I think that's very smart of her to do, and very
shows a lot of confidence, doesn't it?
And she'll be ready for Kona 110%, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Now, obviously, Lucy Gossage has been struggling with this broken collarbone. She was in great form before that, so it all remains to be seen how well she can bounce back from that, bless her.
Yeah, from what we heard from Lucy is that it's probably not going to be the injury anymore that holds her back, but that the injury led to her having to skip the last hard block of training that she wanted to do for Kona, instead of that rehabbing or waiting for the collarbone to heal. So that might mean that she's actually like 100% healthy on the start line, but maybe missed the last hard block. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for her.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that you never know with a lot of athletes missing that kind of, in inverted commas, hard block of training. She might just be that little bit fresher for the race, and we've seen her produce some incredible performances in the time trialing world over here as well as in triathlon. So it'd be great to see if she manages to sort of bounce back from that injury this year.
Yeah, though she's been struggling with a couple of smaller injuries basically for most of the year. So I don't know if she's been able to have a really good training block in there that allowed her to step up a notch and then actually benefit from being forced to take it a bit easier the last couple of weeks. But again, Lucy, once the race starts, there's no
she's there. She's racing for the win, isn't she? And then finally, I guess, former champion Leander Cave, DNF'd last year. How do you rate her chances this year?
Yeah, I don't know with Leander. I mean, last year was a really tough race for her. She crashed a couple of times on the bike, though I don't know exactly what happened there and what was going on there, but she couldn't finish the race after falling down, I think, 2 or 3 times. Um, she hasn't had a very good year so far, but she's one that probably is focused on Kona, and she's the one that put most of her eggs in the Kona basket, so she'll have prepared well. But yeah, I'm just not sure what she's able to do still these years.
Yeah, cool. Hey, well, listen, man, thanks very much for your analysis. It's been great, and I'm really excited. This is going to go out in the week leading up to Kona, so it's really going to get people's juices flowing, ready for the race. I know I'm sitting here now going, I'm going to spend some time reading your report and be really clued up about what's going on. So I really appreciate you taking the time, and I love the inside knowledge that you've brought to it here. So that's great, man, and we look forward to having you back on the show in the future.
Oh yeah, well, let's see how that turns out. And if people want to have a look at the report, you can just go to tryrating.com. There's probably a banner on the site explaining what it is and how to get it, and any donations for the stuff that I did. I mean, it's available for free, but if you can let me know how much you appreciate it by donating a couple of dollars, that would be great for anyone who does that. And you did that, and it's just
I've got to say it's well worth the $7, man. The price per magazine.
Yeah, I mean that's
it's
the best.
It's the best triathlon reading this year. It's well worth it.
I enjoy putting it together. I enjoy getting all the feedback, and I hope it pays for my ticket to Kona next year.
Yeah, let's hope so. Well, I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well, so people can just click through and go and check that out, man. But listen, buddy, thanks very much for coming on, and we'll speak to you again soon. We'll hopefully see you in Kona next year, huh?
You take care.
You too, man. All right, Hells, we've heard from Thorsten. What do you think is going to happen in the ladies' race? Who are your predictions?
In the women's race, Rob, I am, and this is what I told Thorsten, I'm going to go for Rinny.
Are you?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Rinny 1, Daniela Reef 2, and Mel Hauschild 3. And then, I put my dark horse, I put Kaisa Leitonen, the Finnish woman. But I was thinking, there are so many dark horses I want to put there. But anyway, that was the one I told Thorsten. It might have been slightly sleep-induced stuff. Don't know.
Yeah, okay. I'm going with Daniela Reef.
Yep.
Daniela for the win, Rinny for second, and I'm going with Susie Cheetham.
Yeah, you see, yep, I like that. Okay.
I think Susie's the dark horse. I had a message or two off Susie this week on Facebook, and she's in good shape, man.
Good. Honestly, she was the one who I was gonna say. But anyway, that was what I wrote to Thorsten, so I can't.
She's under the radar. There's no pressure on her.
Yep.
She delivered on the run last year. Come on, Susie.
It's going to be exciting. And I really, really hope that Lucy Gossage as well has a brilliant race.
Yeah, I hope so too. Yeah. It's amazing that she's even made it there after the year she's had.
I know. Yeah, very inspiring.
Hey, did you see that Lucy Charles won the swim?
Right.
You're about to say that?
Yeah, I was about to say. I was thinking, should we do the men? And then I'll mention Lucy Charles. Oh my God. No, let's mention her right now. Then we'll come on to the men. So Lucy Charles, who we've had on the show before, age group world champion in 70.3 and Ironman last year, wasn't it?
Yeah. She's raced pro this year.
Yep, but she's not racing Kona, is she? Am I right? I'm right in saying that, aren't I? Or not? Am I making that up?
I don't know, actually. I assume she was because she's there, but...
I'm going to check.
Why would you go to Kona if you're not racing?
Reese is racing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. If she's not racing, I'll be really disappointed.
I don't know. I might be making that up. I'm going to check my facts out. Anyway, the point is, she won the swim.
Yeah, they have an Ironman distance swim a week before the race, don't they?
Yeah.
She's the first ever woman to overall win it, which is brilliant.
Exactamundo. So she was 3 minutes faster than last year. And yeah, well, I'm just having.
Was that 3 minutes faster than her time last year, or than the previous female winner's time?
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to look.
Okay.
But
if she's improved by 3 minutes in a year, she was already the strongest female swimmer in Kona last year. That'd be incredible. It must be. She was 3 minutes faster than last year's winner, surely. Last year's female winner.
Maybe. She did 48.55.
That's fast on that course, isn't it?
Yep. Ahead of Andy Bircherer, 49.02.
Yeah.
Reese Barkley, her fiancé, 49.22.
Do you know, it'd be dead interesting. She could even challenge for like the overall first out of the swim at Kona.
It'd be great, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it just be?
Yeah. Igor Amarelli, then Tim Don, then David McNamee. Like she beat so many.
Yeah, it was a solid field, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well done, Lucy.
So
very impressive.
Yeah.
That's all good. Right, men's race.
Yes.
Money where your mouth is time. Come on.
Oh, right. Okay, sorry. My men's race, again, I said to Thorsten, this was about a month ago, Jan Frodeno.
Yep.
I said simply a machine. Then I said Jesse Thomas.
Oh, yes. Interesting.
And then I said Keenly. And I said my dark horse is David McNamee.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So Jesse Thomas, of course, beat... everyone's forgotten this now, but Jesse Thomas beat Jan Frodeno in Lanzarote, didn't he? Yeah. Now, Frodeno had only just been coming back from injury at that point.
Yeah.
But still, really solid. He's had 2 wins, hasn't he, Jesse, at Wales and at Lanzarote? Mm-hmm. First time racing. So I like that. That's an interesting call.
Yeah.
I'm going with Frodeno.
Okay.
I'm going with Keenley in second, and I'm going with Skipper in third.
Yes. Love it.
And I think it could even be Skipper and Lionel Sanders. I really do. I've got a feeling that those guys there's going to be a second train this year. If those guys can get themselves organised, Skipper, Sanders, a few of the other slightly slower swimmers, they might even pick up Keenley on the way as well.
Oh, it's going to be good.
But I definitely see them getting off the bike with the front pack.
Yep.
So, yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
And after Skipper running 2:38, after drilling on the bike at Roth in the heat as well, he could, it could be all to play for.
Can't wait. You're going to be up all night, Rob, watching?
I am. I'm having the Kona party.
Yeah.
Having it. We're having we've rented out a big place in Lymm. In fact, if anyone's in the northwest of England and you want to come, drop me an email. Coach Rob will be at oxygenaddict.com. We've got a big bar with a plasma screen and it's all going to be shown on there. So, and Decker Dave Clamp's going to come and do a speech as well in the middle of it. Oh. He's going to come and do a talk about his double-decker championship win, which will be brilliant. A chance to meet him in the flesh and talk to him. And he's doing his public speaking bit for us, which is brilliant. And we're going to raise some money for charity as well along the way. So it's free to come. If you're in the northwest of the UK and you want to come, drop me an email and it'd be great to see you. Come and have a few drinks and watch Kona. It'd be good fun.
Fantastic. Rob, I want to update you with something.
Go on.
Lucy Charles is not on the start list.
Oh, what a shame. So, good knowledge.
Because, if you remember, I'm sure she said she wants to get experience this year. I'm sure that's what she said when you interviewed her. Because she got the points, didn't she, at Lanzarote? She got some points at Lanzarote.
Yeah.
But other than that, she would have obviously done some 70.3 points, but then she didn't do Bolton. And I think,
okay.
Yeah, so anyway, so she's not on the start list, but she is out in Kona, so she's clearly doing training, smashing the swim, that kind of thing. The other person who is on that women's start list, who we have to mention, because it's going to be her last Ironman race, is Natasha Badman.
Oh, the legend. Is she 49 this year?
Something amazing.
Ah, she's just brilliant. Yeah. It'd be great if she turned out a stunning performance, wouldn't it?
The dark horse.
Keep your eyes out for Natasha Badman on that old cheetah bike. That's one from the record books for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, we need to wrap it up, Hells.
We do. We've been blabbering on.
Great to chat to you. Really good. Thanks for listening, everyone. By the time you hear this, Kona will be less than a week away, so keep your eyes peeled for hopefully a couple of Try Kona shows coming up this week. And a big shout out to our sponsors, chiacharge.co.uk, precisionhydration.co.uk, and teamoxygenaddict.com. So, yeah, until next week, Helen, by the time we speak again, Kona will have happened.
I know. It's exciting.
Great stuff. Yeah. All right. So have a great, safe training and racing week till next week. We shall speak to you again. I'm Rob Wilby.
I'm Helen Murray.
And you've been listening to the Cup of Triathlon podcast. Be good, everyone, and we'll speak to you again soon.